And while that happens, yay, we're now streaming live on YouTube. So I think everybody needs to see our intro because it's the most important thing that anybody could possibly want to see. And I'm going to share a computer sound so they can hear the great song too. So here we go. And hello, everybody. Welcome to AWT TV from Apple World today. And this is episode number 11. And today is what, June 12th, 2017. I'm here with Mr. Marty Edwards, this
Good
handsome
evening.
Gentleman next to me over here. How are you doing, Marty?
I'm not getting the other video feed of the other guy,
You're not?
the handsome gentleman. I only see.
you only see you and me.
Well, I didn't mean that for you. That was actually directed toward me, not you. What are you drinking out of? A hand grenade?
This? No, these are.
Oh, okay, I see.
These are absolutely great glasses. They've got a, I don't know, kind of a rubberized material around them.
Well,
and
when you were in the small, just little screenshot a while ago, it looked like a hand grenade.
that could have been an interesting thing to throw out there. So we're coming down from WWDC week, and it's kind of interesting here, having heard some of the comments and some of the things that some of the developers have found in the pre-release, the developer versions that came out last week. I'm trying to remember what some of those are. We were talking about them the end of last week, and they seemed really important at the time. But anyway, we may or may not do a demo of iOS 11 here tonight, but who knows? What the heck? Sadly, Dennis isn't with us tonight, and if he was, he'd be telling us all about his brand new 27-inch iMac, which he, if you got to see the video today, he upgraded it to 32 gigs of RAM, which is a pretty good amount. You should double it, go to 64. And if it was tomorrow, I'd have my iPad Pro 10.5 inch, but so it goes.
Well, maybe you can demo that next week. Is it going to seem a little bittersweet getting that new iPad Pro and not have version 11 with all the neat features they've been touting?
I think so, because some of the things that I've seen already in iOS 11 on a and this is a what version? iPad Mini 2, so it's pretty old. Some of the things I've seen on there are just incredible, and you can't even do split screen on there. I mean, it's such a tiny screen, but the dock is something that is absolutely going to be great. You can switch between apps a lot faster. At least on the iPhone, you've got that, especially the iPhone 7, you've got that capability of doing the Force or the 3D touch.
Right.
And kind of bringing up that flowing list of current apps. But on the iPad, at least you don't have that capability. And this just makes it so much faster to flip between apps. I've been really, really, really impressed with it. And I hear my cat down there talking again. He does this every Monday night.
He knows you're not giving attention.
That's exactly it. Yeah, and the other cat is sitting 4 feet away from me, just sitting there looking at me like, hey, this is really cool. I may have to mute myself and, say, hey, hold on a second here. But yeah, I think I'm going to call the cat up and see if he'll come up here. So why don't you take it over here, dude?
Well, I can't give any demo of iOS 11 because I'm not a developer, and they come out with the public version so quickly. I just can't hardly pay $99 just to be a developer to get the software for a few days, because it will be available for the public by the end of June. They say. I was hoping this week, but so I'll go ahead and play with it. I've got an iPad that I can sacrifice upon the Apple altar of iOS, and so I can definitely sacrifice it. I do not. My wife asked me. We both watched WWDC together, the entire thing, and she asked me. She said, "Are you going to do the beta?" I said, "I won't on my work machines. My bread and butter." And she's actually asking about the Mac. I only got the one Mac, so I can't really sacrifice it. And say, so, I would probably really need a new iMac 27-inch top of the line to be able to use this Mac for experimenting.
I think you definitely need a new 27 inch.
Yeah.
And, if you're anything like me, you probably say, boy, it'd sure be great to get an iMac Pro. But I tell you, when you take a look at the price tag of the thing, you really have to be able to justify it. And for me, just a regular iMac is more than powerful enough.
Same here.
Yeah. I can wait a little bit for video to render, but, I don't do super long 4K videos. They're usually really short. So,
right. Well, I do no video work. My biggest robust task is I like to run some virtual machines, and you really need the memory for that. So I'll probably do well just buy one of the new 27-inch iMacs, load it up with memory to run a ton of virtual machines if I want to. And so that's probably going to be my down the road, but maybe it's age. But I'm really at the point that when everything's working fine, it's hard to justify the upgrade sometimes.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
There's a point in my life that, it's new, I've got to have it. Now, man, what I've got works, So,
well, I figure with the iPhone, that's something that I went ahead last year and I got on the iPhone upgrade plan. So every year, like clockwork, I'll get the most recent iPhone. May not necessarily get it the first day, but at least I'll get the new iPhone. The iPad, it's been a year and a half or so since the original iPad Pro came out. And I kind of felt like it was getting to the point, some of the apps out there were getting to the point that they'd run a little bit slowly on that device. So I almost felt like, it's time for that to get upgraded. And like I said, tomorrow it should be here. I hope my pre-sign that I did on the UPS website actually works, because I may not be here tomorrow when it shows up. But what are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, I look forward to seeing your take on it. I don't have any plans right now, probably, for any of the new gear until the iPhone. I, like you, we do have a regional carrier, Bluegrass Cellular in Kentucky. They're partners with Verizon because they're both CDMA carriers, and they have a plan where that they'll you get the phone, they'll split it into 20 payments, not 24, it's 20, so you pay a little bit more. But after you've paid 12, you just hand them your phone, they hand you a new one. And so, I'm able to upgrade every year like that. And it's interest free. So it's in a way a no brainer. I want to keep in the latest phone. So my wife and I both do that. Yeah. Interest free and just pay 10 or 12 months of it.
Yeah. I mean, they make so much sense because, especially for the Uber geeks like us, we're kind of to the point that we really do want to see those changes. And I think this year, especially that iPhone 8, everything we're hearing about it, it looks like it's going to be a tremendous change in how we use the iPhone, just how how it looks, how it operates, everything else. So definitely for those of us who blog, it's a necessity.
Well, you're right, and you can do so much with it. You know, the iPhone basically has become my work machine. Whenever I travel, I don't take anything else because I don't have a MacBook. My wife does, but she's actually traveling a few hundred miles away to her parents. And just a little side notes, we do bring up everything, but I tell you, when she travels, I realize so much how much we use Find My Friends, and know that she's arrived safely at her parents' house in western Arkansas, and also Find My Phone. I tend to we see each other on that because we're family plan, but maybe I can demo this in a video sometime. But with that, I can also see her battery percentage. If it's below 20%, it turns red on the screen. And, just sometimes maybe if I need to give her a heads up, hey, your battery's at 20% if she's really busy with something.
Plug in. Well, I was surprised that, I don't have, well, except for my parents who don't use much technology at all at this point in their lives, but my nephew and his wife and their 7-month-old baby came over this weekend down from Seattle. And so it was nice being able to get, the same type of thing, get that, the updates constantly. Hey, we're coming down and we're at the airport. We've just gotten the rental car, and know where everybody is. I remember the old days when my wife would go on business trips and I'd have to wait until night. Usually she'd call me around the time she ate dinner, and, I'd get this phone call. Hey, I got back, got up here this afternoon, blah, blah, blah. And we talked for a while. Now we're in such constant touch. Some people may find it annoying. I find it great. I really do.
Well, we do as well, because you just know there's that safety factor, and just knowing, instead of always saying, where are you, or when did you arrive, or are you close? I just check the phone and see where she's at, and I'll Find My Friends or find my iPhone. And because there is a little bit more data on that, since we both appear on that map of battery and, and other little things. And we may write this up sometime, but if for some reason her phone is muted, even with the side button, I really need to get a hold of her. Find My iPhone will ring through that, will ping like a little sonar for 5 minutes, even with mute and everything on. So you can, there's a lot that you can do. So it's nice, it's comfortable, and you feel safe. And it's a lot of fun to do as well, So
Yeah.
So we both stay, in the latest iPhone.
Do you do a lot of FaceTiming, or?
That's what I was going to tell you. There was something still in the back of my mind I forgot. Today she was traveling to her parents, as I mentioned, western Arkansas. She stopped at a store for a break, and she went into like a clothing and department store, and she saw this shirt she thought I might be interested in, but instead of just describing it, she called me on FaceTime and said, "Do you like this shirt?" And had the camera there, and so. I think both shirts together was $56, but she walked out only paying $13 for them. They were on sale, and she had some kind of coupon for both of them. So,
oh, good grief!
And so she said, "You can use these on your Monday night show, so you might see them showing up."
Yes.
And but that's just was such a good use of FaceTime. We do FaceTime periodically, but we probably have used it more like, "Is this the product you wanted? Or what do you want from the store?
Yeah.
Or could I see it?" And it's just great. And I'm a little shocked at how little data FaceTime uses. I just checked to be doing. We actually FaceTime quite a few minutes, showing the shirts and everything, just chatting a little. I think it only was like 11.4 meg. The compression algorithms they use are phenomenal.
Yeah, it really surprises me because, like you said, you'd think you'd be using a little bit more bandwidth. Not at all.
No, it's very thin. And that brings us to iOS 11. Bandwidth ought to be about half. They say that, what is it, HRVE or something? I don't know. I don't even know the acronym enough to mention it.
Well, I can remember the H.265, but that's about it. HECV, I think. High efficiency compressed video, I'm guessing. Let me see if I can find it here. HECV.
But they're saying it'll use about half the storage and therefore half the bandwidth.
Well, this isn't looking good. I'm seeing everything here that's, wow. Well, let's see. It could have something about HECV mobility and tubule formation or hose end control valves. I don't think that's it.
Well, I typed in iOS 11 video codec. It's HEVC, high efficiency video codec.
That's why it wasn't coming up.
Isn't it funny? Codec itself is an acronym. And so we have an acronym for the acronym.
Acronym. Kind of like that great movie Inception, you know, it just keeps digging deeper there. That was a weird movie. But yeah, let's see. They're talking about, wow. Yeah, so companies will pay up to $25 million a year for the licensing, which means that, yeah, Apple probably will pay $25 million a year. But that's pretty incredible what it does. I mean, it's just incredible.
Being sort of geeky the way we are, I really enjoy the behind the scenes of what's going on with the new software, new codecs, things that the average person never sees, they just get the benefit from.
Yeah, this is great. They said like the average bit rate reduction compared to H.264, which is the existing standard for 1080p, 62% reduction in bandwidth, you know, as it's doing that. That's pretty incredible.
Well, it is. So that'll be obviously less than half the bandwidth needed. And so
it's going to be nice for probably for 4K video here.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I tell you, I love watching, and I brought this up a bunch of times on the show, but the 4K videos, they're, you know, the ones, especially the drone footage that we've been getting from the people who fly over Apple Park, incredible. Hey, I just noticed, I finally brought up the YouTube screen, and I noticed that my old blogging partner to Dave Kalo is on, as well as Paul Gans. They appear to be the only people who watch it live. We've been getting a pretty good number of people after the fact, but you know, when it comes to the live show, we're still not doing that great there. So anyway, hi Dave and hi Paul. We'll say hi to them there, and hopefully they'll see us. Paul is you know, kind of an old friend from the AWT TV days, and Dave says howdy. So
they'll probably
great to see you.
Private message you later. Where did you find this guy?
I was just walking down the street one day and I saw this guy.
Hey, you want to blog some? Yeah. Well, Dennis, talking about Dennis not being here, he's like at a government meeting about the parks of Nashville or something. Some park.
Yeah, I guess it has something to do with some of the, you know, he does a lot of like basketball and baseball leagues and stuff like that. And
I thought they were putting a statue up of him in the city. He
should.
Maybe so.
Yeah, or maybe they're going to name one of the ballparks. Maybe we'll have a licensing deal. It'll be, you know, the Apple World Today Park.
Yeah, like you see, 3Com Park or something, AWT Park.
That's not too bad, yeah?
Yeah.
I could enjoy that. As long as we don't have to pay any licensing fees, I'm okay with it.
They can use it. But what's exciting you most about iOS 11? I guess we almost had to divide it, iPad or iPhone, because they're going to be vastly different.
Well, it's funny, you know, because the only thing I really have tested it on, of course, is this iPad mini. And I just found out my battery in the keyboard went out. So I'm going to just pop this thing out of the keyboard. There we go. Guess I'll have to charge that up. But a couple of the things that I really find the best, like I said, the dock is incredible. It makes it so much more Mac-like. And I know that's a stupid thing to say, because they are two different platforms. But the one thing on the iPad Pro that I think I'm really going to be looking forward to is that dock and being able to have those instant buttons down there at my fingertips, instead of having to do that slide over, scroll, 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 scroll,
Right.
scroll, 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 scroll some more, scroll again, and finally find the app that I wanted, and it scrolled by, so I have to scroll back. This is so useful. It's just crazy. I mean, it's absolutely nuts how much I like that. The a couple of the other things, the Files app, I still think that's another, something that we really needed, because the iCloud Drive app that came out last year was pretty good. I got to admit, it was nice. You could kind of go out and you could kind of look through stuff in iCloud Drive. But the biggest issue I had with it was the fact that I wasn't seeing everything. In other words, I couldn't get into Dropbox. I couldn't, do these other things. Now, when they finally get it up and running, we'll be able to do that. I also like the fact that I can go into iCloud Drive and it looks pretty much like the Finder. And I could just scroll up and down. I can go in, I can tap on this little icon here and open up this folder. I can see, everything. It just looks a lot more like the Finder, as if you're actually going into a Finder window. There's also a Recents tab or view that you can go into, where anything that you've opened up recently just comes on up, and really makes it easy to kind of move around. Do I wish they do something else with that? Yeah, I do. The one thing I really think they need to do is add the capability of adding new folders. I thought you could. I looked everywhere and I couldn't find a way that you could actually create a new folder on an iCloud Drive. And that just seems a little crazy. But maybe someday we'll see that. We can only hope.
Did you ever get Google Drive loaded?
No, apparently it's not supported yet. That'll probably be coming out in the next version. Yes, it will all work on the 9.7-inch iPad Pro, Paul Gans. In fact, it'll probably work much better. Will the current capabilities, the whatever the heck you call it, the Dropbox and being able to add Google Drive and the rest of those, will that work with the 9.7-inch iPad Pro right now? No, but everything will work with the 9.7, 10.5, and 12.9-inch iPads. So big thumbs up there. iPad Pros, excuse me. So I'm looking forward to this. And the cool thing is, I got to admit, iOS 10 so far has been really, really, really stable. I think I only had one app crash, and frankly, I think it was the app, not the operating system.
I think you mean iOS 11.
Did I say iOS 10? Where am I tonight?
That's all right. I think you said 11. I mean, I think you said 10. So I even said it wrong saying it to you.
Well, I've been having problems all weekend, because normally my wife and I have this very set routine. And we had the relatives in town, my nephew, his wife, and their 7-month-old baby. Great seeing them, all of them. I mean, it was just absolutely fantastic. But then we got together with my folks, and all these things that went on. It was just kind of like, oh my God, my routine is broken. And now my sister's here this week, so yeah, I'm going to be a basket case for another week. Oh, Paul Gantz says the reviews of the 10.5-inch iPad Pro make it look like a great laptop alternative. Just today, I did see the review that if I can remember his name. I'm losing it. The guy from Mac Stories. Anyway, he did a review of it. Just absolutely loved a lot of the features of it. And he said, it's still not as handy as having a 12.9 inch, but what can I say? I still want the smaller size. iMore apparently had one. Apparently, The Verge had a large video review as well. So, and pretty quickly, probably by Wednesday or Thursday, Apple World Today will have one. Yay! But let's see. Federico, thank you. Yes, Mr. Federico at and he's usually writes these incredible reviews that are I won't exactly say they're way too long. Oh, MacStories.net, you idiot, Steve. There we go. But he writes very, very detailed reviews. And in this particular case, Mr. Viticci did a really good review of that device. Thumbs up there. He says it's future-proof. In fact, let me see if I can copy and paste that. Wish we could paste these onto the screen here. Maybe that's something I'm going to have to request of these wonderful people at Zoom. Say, is there a way to paste things into a screen here? We have Q&A, which we can't use. Polling, no, don't want to do that. Anyway, I guess we can chat amongst each other. So let's see here. That's going to you. There you go, Marty.
Yeah, I got the link right there. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. But anyway.
Of course, you could share that tab or that page on YouTube. Yeah.
Oh my God. Dave just said a horrible thing there. He says, I don't care about iPad. This is, Paul said, problem is I always go for the most tricked out version of the iPad, so it gets too expensive. And that's why I went not only with the 10.5, but I almost thought about going with 64 gigabytes, but after having 128 on the 12.9 inch iPad Pro, I finally decided I have to have 256. So I went with that. And I think that's going to be pretty nice.
Headphone jack, I see.
Oh, yeah. Got to be able to hook it into those projectors when I'm teaching classes. That really helps when you're doing Siri demos, and you can have Siri's voice boom throughout the room.
We haven't addressed this in a while, but I know most people don't miss it, but I have missed the headphone jack. There's quite a few situations where I've used both. My wife especially, she loves to listen to audiobooks. And because we're on an unlimited audiobook plan, we've reviewed TuneIn Radio, and she patches it through to her car with a, lightning cable and USB, the headphone adapter. But then she can't charge. So like on this, she's driving 12 hours today. So if she wants to listen through her car, she can't charge. And so it really taxes the system. So then if you want to charge, you got to listen through the speakers of the phone. Yeah. So I do miss it, but I guess on to the future, we'll, adjust. And they do make Y adapters. We bought one, but it didn't work too good. It would drop in and out quite a bit.
Have you tried one of the, you can get some of these Bluetooth adapters, and what they'll do is if your car has an audio in jack that takes one of the 1/8 inch plugs, they'll plug in and you can use Bluetooth to send the stuff over. If it doesn't have Bluetooth, then probably one of the better ideas is, or doesn't have that jack, one of the better ideas, if your car still has a cassette adapter, there still are companies that are selling those.
Oh, what? I don't know that word.
It's a...
I'm nearly as old as you are,
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, kids asked me, said, now, did you start programming on an abacus? Yeah, more or less,
Yeah, we did. I always tell people the story, and it's not a story. It's, what happened with me is in eighth grade in junior high school, our school system, Aurora Public Schools, Aurora, Colorado, got a one of those early mini computers, and they were using it at their administration building to do things like payroll schedules, different things like that. And some brilliant teacher said, we can buy these old, I guess they were like government surplus teletypes, and they have an acoustic modem on them. We can set it up so that these kids can actually connect this teletype to one of the or to the computer and just kind of do whatever kind of program you want. So that's my first programming experience was in eighth grade, and writing basic programs. We also had a tape reader writer, so you could go in and you could actually put it onto paper tape. But that was my first experience, and that kind of went through. I'm sorry, I was looking at some of the comments there. But that also, went into high school. I don't think they upgraded their equipment very quickly. And then college, we had mainframes with card decks. That was state of the art, man.
Well, back to the car where we got on, it does have a 1/8 input. So I may have to look at that as a possibility, because on these 12-hour road trips, it's either listen through the phone or patch through the car audio system and not be able to charge. So you have to do one a while, then switch back and forth. So yeah, we both do miss having both jacks, but we'll adjust. Already have, but.
And Pippin's at it again, ladies and gentlemen. The amazing Pipster. He's making comments about. I think
they probably even make a Bluetooth adapter. You remember back in the early days, you could broadcast at like 88.9 on your FM dial to get through to the system. There's probably something like that out there.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I still need to do the demonstration or the review of CarPlay.
Yeah.
And I got to admit, I've only used it twice now, but when you use it, it's really pretty cool. I think, where we're really going to find that useful is on longer road trips. When you're on a short little drive around town, it really doesn't make a lot of sense, especially when you know where you're going, things like that. But, I love being able to see that, pretty good size screen. I think it's like, it's about the size of this iPad mini, the screen that we've got in there, but seeing those icons on there, the familiar Apple icons, and then being able to, pretty much do everything through voice control with a little button that's on the steering wheel. So very good for hands-off, hands-free, excuse me, not hands-off, but hands-free use of the computer. Okay. Good, the cat's shut up finally. Yay! Maybe my spouse fed him or something. I don't know what's going on there, but not a happy cat.
I'll tell you one little thing I had for us tonight is my wife and I were probably most excited about the Monument Valley game.
Yes.
We bought it. She bought it, and being on the family plan, I got it. Didn't have to pay for it, so we both got it. We both played it completely. Finished the game. You might have as well already.
No, I'm not there yet.
Well, it's not going to take near as long. The only negative comments I've seen in the reviews on the App Store are the game's too easy. People were saying it is pretty easy, but it's really story driven. The story is absolutely fabulous. It's worth $5. Like I said last week, pass at McDonald's once, buy the game.
Well, what I'm hoping is that they'll do like they did with the original Monument Valley, and release a second set of levels that'll be free like they did with the previous one, because that was great, because with the original one, I took my time. I went all the way through the first set of levels. I loved it. Said, boy, that was a great game. And then I was thinking of deleting it. It's like, I'm not going to go through it again. And then they came out with the second set of levels. It was like, yes. And the second set I thought was definitely, at least with Monument Valley 1, much more difficult, to make it through some of those. I can remember sitting there for hours going, that's not working. What the heck is going on here? And I just put it away and then come back a couple days later and I get it. But what a great game. I just
agree.
love it.
Yeah. I thought since that, and we're going to be changing the App Store pretty soon, but I thought I might just show a little couple of tips about the App Store, if you and Pippin don't mind.
No, I think, in fact, I may put myself on mute, and if you want to go ahead and do a screen share.
Okay.
And, I'll put
Let
myself
me go
on
ahead
mute.
and pull this up, and all right, I'm going to share my iPhone screen here. Give me just a moment to get it going. All right. A little bit of hoops we have to jump through here. Share screen. All right, QuickTime Player. Okay. All right, I guess you see all my notifications there. They've been rolling in on the phone. Apple World Today. And okay, let's. Of course, I talked about Monument Valley. I think it's a great game. I got Monument Valley 1 and 2 both there. But I want to talk a little bit tonight, just share a couple of tips about the App Store that people might not be familiar with. You open up the App Store, and of course, Monument Valley is still top and center as one of their apps. And I have run into so many people that do not realize, like, if you give them an iTunes card, how to redeem it. So I thought I'd give a couple of quick tips, and maybe even a tip or two that some of our listeners are unaware of, but they probably, being pretty technical, are. So when you open up the App Store, go to the featured at the bottom left. This at least will be good through iOS 10. If you go all the way to the bottom, there's Monument Valley again. They keep promoting it. It's worth it. You go all the way to the bottom. If you go all the way down, you'll see your password and your balance. Or not your password. You'll see there's my email, my balance. I've got 73.34 credit in the App Store. Some people have been
You
good.
can gift me with that, can't you?
I can. It was over 100.
But so, you won't. No, don't do that. Gift your wife with it.
She is loaded with gift cards. That's our regular gift. Anniversaries, birthdays. You can't go wrong with iTunes cards. But if someone gets you a physical iTunes card, say from a store, and you want to redeem it, you hit the featured, which is the star, go all the way to the bottom nearly and hit redeem. You've got two choices. Use your camera to scan in the card, which I'm not going to do. We'll have some feedback here. And or you can type in, but Apple cards redeem so well. So you can type in the code or just use the camera, but I highly recommend using the camera. One feature that many overlook in using the App Store is to send a gift. I have quite a few nieces and nephews, and come birthday time, I like to give them an iTunes card. Well, all I got to do is tap on send gift. I type in their email at the top. It'll say it's from me. I can send them a message like happy birthday or whatever. You can put in emotes as well there. And I send them a gift. There's preset amounts of 25, 50, or 100. But let's just say, it's maybe for a young child. Just say you want to just do 10. So you can type that in. But here's a feature a lot of people overlook. When do you want to send the gift? Well, their birthday's not for 5 months. So you pick the day, say that you want to send, and it'll just go at that time, that day. So you can program up to a year ahead of time. Today is June the 12th. And so I can send a gift for June the 12th, 2018. But if I try to go to the 13th, it bounces back. It will not let me go past a year. So you can send a gift for up to a year ahead of time, which is quite handy. If you want to do all your birthday gifts for the year, just do them in here. It'll take care of it automatically. That is really, I think, one of the best features. But here's something else that a lot of people don't know, and I've used it twice with a couple of young people at our church. They both really seem to like Monument Valley, the original. So I told them about it, and they were interested in the game. And you know how people, they said, well, maybe they didn't want to spend the money. So I go into Monument Valley, and a lot of times I will simply share the link with people just here and tell them about the game, copy the link or send it by message, add it to a wish list. But there's an option for actual apps. You can gift the actual app. It will send them that game. Same, you enter their email from you, a message, and send the gift when you want to. So if I think, oh, I've got a friend that would love to play Monument Valley, but I don't want them to have it until their birthday in October. And sure enough, I program it in and just send it. And now I've noticed it's not letting me, I think, go quite as far. Maybe they don't let apps go quite as far into the future, but I could do September for sure. Maybe they think that's going to change the price, but you can gift the apps and program them as well. So I thought just a few little tips about the App Store. I know the App Store is going to change a lot, but I think it's going to be comparable. Now, Steve, I don't want to ruin this for you, so don't look if you don't want to see. But I wanted to just show you on Monument Valley, we completed every bit of it. Even the selection screen is a big clue about the game. And so we have completed to the very end. There's no other. Both of us completed it on the same day. So it is a great, great game. So anyway, a few tips about the App Store I hope people will find helpful.
That was very helpful. And you know, it's funny because you're mentioning, you said, well, everybody probably knows how to do this. You'd be surprised how many people, when I teach my iOS class, how many people have never purchased an app in the App Store, and I take them through the process. Just yesterday, I think it was, I was responding to a comment that somebody had made on the OWC website, and this person was saying, asking questions about installing apps. And I said, tell you what, it's, really too long to tell you right here, but here's a link to an article on the Apple support website, and it'd be a great place for you to look and find out how to do this. So, I think a lot of times we assume everybody's going to know this. Not necessarily.
Well, and I won't say it's hidden, but be able to gift an actual app is pretty nice. There was a girl at church. She was really interested in Monument Valley, and she said, well, I'll get it. So while standing there, unbeknownst to her, I just gifted it to her. It showed up on her phone, and she had it. So you can send money, but you can send the actual app as well. And I love the fact that you can program ahead of time, especially on the gift cards 1 year. Just take care of all birthdays and gifts of that level for the whole year. And I would have to double check, but I'm pretty sure the money doesn't come out of your iTunes account until it actually ships. So you can just plan it all, make sure you've got the money in there. And go.
You know what I found interesting there, and maybe we've got a clue here, but did you notice that, maybe it just goes 3 months ahead in terms of gifting apps?
That seemed to be 3 months. I didn't check the actual date. The gift cards were a year. Apps are such a commodity that prices could fluctuate.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they limit it to 3 months. That's something I said people probably know this. I taught myself something right then. I didn't know they were limited.
Yeah, it was either that or maybe we have a clue as to when the next iPhones will be released.
There you
I doubt that. I was wrong with my, remember back a while, I said
April 4th.
Oh, it's going to be, April 4th, because there was this timing thing that was out there in terms of when devices would actually ship. Totally wrong, but
Mac Rumors, they saw that article.
Yes, they did.
They were kind. They said another site has wrongfully predicted.
Well, I thought that was fun.
It is.
Well, it was funny because everybody picked up on that one. And,
you made big time news.
It was wrong,
but what was it they say in show business? Even negative news is I done forgot. But that was, I thought you had a good idea, but they picked up on
Yeah,
it.
I was hoping, that was the big
Yeah.
thing. It was one of those, well, we're just hoping that this is going to be the way it goes. Actually, if you want to, just for grins here, we got like 10 minutes more to go. We might be able to do a demo of our good friend, Mr. iOS 11. And if anybody has any questions to ask, we could do kind of a Q&A there. Let me make sure this is actually going to work, because I've had some issues picking up doing the screen sharing in QuickTime Player lately. Oh, there it is. Yay.
That's another thing. I think I'm most excited about iOS 11 is to be able to record the screen. That would be great for doing our instructional videos.
Yes, it would. There was
Except
something
it leaves
about
the blue
that.
bar at the top.
Well, I was trying it, and I'm trying to remember where the heck I did that. Oh, that's right. I added it to the whatever the heck they call it. Oh, I'm sitting here using my mouse to try to move around on the screen. But there's actually a button you can ask or add to the new control center to do that. And if I remember correctly, at least on this device, it crashed, which was not a good thing. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead. Let me share this guy, and we'll just talk really quickly about some of the things I've found in there. Some of them may be familiar to those who watched the video the other day. And if I can just find, there we go. Just going to do the share screen. There we go. QuickTime Player, where are you? There it is. Got it. Share screen. Okay. So anyway, we're in the, right, there we go. And my sister just made a comment, message. Wow, this is moving really slowly here. But anyway, that's the Photos app. Let me get out of it real quick here. There we go. We're back to the home screen. I love the dock. It's really easy, just like on the Mac. If you want to add something there, you go into jiggle mode, and you just, come on. I don't know why it's not responding real well now that we're hooked up there. But you can tell this is an iPad mini, and just look at the number of icons that I've got connected down there. So now I can just launch the new music app, which is coming up very slowly. But anyway, that came up really slowly. Let me show you the new App Store, because that's really quite a bit different. Okay, and you'll notice we had an update to Monument Valley 2 as well. And
Yes.
There's Monument Valley 2 on the, they must really, really like those guys. But this is great. I love these big icons. You have this today view where it shows, kind of the big things for the day. They haven't updated it since it came out, which is sad, but I'm sure they will. There's a special page for games, and this also has not been updated. But I love the fact that, strangely enough, I don't like self-playing or auto-playing videos, but I do like them in here because they really catch your eye here. So seeing Transformers Forged to Fight, the game, playing there in that little screen is pretty incredible, and it just comes right up. Then we've got the apps screen, and once again, very beautifully set up things here, and my cat is still yelling at me. I may have to get a new cat before this is all over. But check out these pages. The reviews are a little bit nicer. A lot of information in there. It looks better. Talk about redeeming things. There's now an account screen, and you can see there's redeem and send gift on there. If you sign in, you can see your purchased apps. Very handy. Just a, kind of a nice relaunch, if you will, of the App Store. So I was pretty impressed with that. Talking about the Control Center, wanted to show here how you can add things to Control Center. Here, I don't really need the magnifier. I just put that on there for the heck of it. But the screen recording button, I'm going to go ahead and add that. And I've added that. We'll now swipe up. And you'll notice I now have this bottom dot on the right side of that screen there. I'm going to tap that, and we'll see if we can record the screen. And that was interesting because it went red there for a second. Maybe it's I can't record and push this out to another machine at the same time. But
yeah, it's almost like a paradox. You're recording a recording or something.
Yeah, you're recording a recording.
So do the sliders for the brightness and the volume you just touch and drag, can you?
Yes, you can.
That's pretty neat. That looks good.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they're a little bit wider because they're almost the width of the finger now. Really works nice. If you're playing any music, of course, you've got the music player up there. You've got all the connectivity items up near the top, the airplane mode, AirDrop, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth. And then, of course, the famous screen mirroring for AirPlay is down at the bottom there. But, even stuff like this, being able to tap a button there and go into the new, the new updated Notes app is pretty cool. There's the new keyboard with the numbers and symbols above each one of the letters. I found that to be really cool. Just being able to go in, for instance, if I want to say something like, let's see here, pork, and then ampersand, I just go in there, and beans, none of this having to go to a different keyboard to be able to do that. You just kind of do that flick motion, and works really, really well.
What if you press and hold a key as opposed to flicking?
If you press and hold on, for instance, like the A, you still get the different formatted A's with the accents on them. Other items like an R, there's really not an accented R. I think are there any G's? Are there any H's? Anyway, can't find some of these things here, but anyway, let's see. Oh, we have a Y ... Must be Icelandic or something. So anyway, it works pretty cool. I love the fact that you can now put tables. Oh, I'm sitting here clicking on it. I was wondering why it wasn't showing up. It's a problem with having this big screen in front of me, but being able to do tables like grass is green and cats are noisy, and just hit the next button and you create another row of items there. And we'll put another entry for cats and say smelly too. There we go. My cat's staring at me now. He's still mad at me, I think. But anyway, that's some of the fun stuff there. I'll stop sharing now, but I think it's going to be a lot more fun down the road, a couple of months, to do a full review on one of the larger devices like an iPad Pro.
I've watched some of the blogging sites have done actual speed tests between iOS 11 and 10. And of course, this is only a beta 1, but it holds itself quite well, even as is,
Yeah. Those early versions are usually, kind of deadly slow. They really haven't optimized them for speed. I thought it did a pretty good job. I mean, some of the lag you saw there was just the fact that it's a pretty old iPad. It's an iPad mini. So not surprising that we see that kind of thing.
Well, I'll dig into it as soon as they do the public beta, which will be before the end of this month. But I'm hoping tomorrow. They often do betas on Tuesday, but I sort of doubt they release a public just 1 week after a whole new operating system. We'll
yeah,
see.
the one thing I also have up and loaded on the what I refer to as the OWC Mac Mini over here, because I write a lot of articles for them doing stuff on this device. But I ended up putting High Sierra on there, and I got to tell you, I love the background photo they've got. They've done such a great job with the wallpapers for about the last 3 or 4 versions, but this one just outdoes itself. But in terms of really seeing a lot of change, so far I don't see it, and I think I'm going to have to dig around there a little bit. Of course, this machine is I think a 2010 Mac Mini server, and it is really pretty slow. Once again, I think it's because it's an early version of it, but things should improve.
Well, it ought to have of course, High Sierra has the Apple file system, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the interesting thing there, that was something I was able to test. I did a partition of the drive that I use for most of the testing, but did a partition. I actually did a full load of High Sierra on that partition. And they are correct about the, going in and doing like mass duplication or mass moves of files. It's almost instantaneous. It just, boom, it happens. You don't see that countdown timer saying 25 more files to move, 24, 23, 22. It's like, boom, it's done. And that's pretty incredible. I think that's probably going to be the biggest change for a lot of people, is seeing the real speed in there. And I have a funny feeling, I mean, this is just my gut feeling, but I have a funny feeling that we're going to see some major differences with Time Machine. Like they may come out with a different app to do backups, because they can do some pretty magical things with Apple file system. And I'm almost wondering if they'll do away with Time Machine and kind of come up with something new. I'm also wondering if that recent move where they went to 2 terabytes of iCloud storage for the same price as 1 terabyte, if that's a possible move towards being able to do Time Machine to the cloud.
Well, you just read my mind. That I was getting ready to ask you that. A lot of people, and I may end up with 1 gig up and down, still waiting. And it's so close. It's so close. So neighbors have access to 1 gig up and down. But whenever ever do have 1 gig up, I would love to be able to do Time Machine or whatever it is to it. 2 terabyte for $10 a month is a pretty good deal. And so do you think they're going to build something in where we can it's going to take a while for a lot of people to do that first initial backup, but then just, incremental backups, differentials to, Apple servers will be, I think is it the British that say spot on?
Spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah. I got a comment when Pippin walked behind you. That was Pippin, I assume, just the black tail moving. It was a little bit of a diffuse shadow look. It looked like you were doing those old things where people try to do the shadows, and that the cat tail going. It looked like you were doing that instead of a real animal. Now you said you may have to replace Pippin. Is Pippin Cat 5 or Cat 6?
He is Cat 5. No, anyway, no, he's Cat 6.
I didn't know how
so
many
he's pretty
had
fast.
Been. Yeah.
Well, he's funny because the other cat, the female cat, she's been sitting over here on the chair of my exercise bike. She's just been curled up, so peaceful, so quiet. Occasionally she looks up and looks over at me, just being a beautiful, wonderful cat. And Pippin's like walking around going, "What are you doing without me? You need to come down
Yeah.
and brush me. You need to feed me." Ah, what an idiot. Well, I think we've kind of come to the end of this show. Next week, we'll be back, of course, on Monday night, same time, same as they used to say on the old Adam West Batman show, same bat time, same bat channel.
Of course, he passed on this week, so a little tribute there.
Yeah. What was funny is I actually, I'd never been a real fan of the current Batman thing. It seems, it has to be so dark. I loved that series when it was on because it was just comic bookish, complete with pow, biff, smash,
Yeah.
that type of thing. And it was very lighthearted. And, since then they've taken it to this dark path, the Dark Knight, and all that junk. It takes all the fun out of it, So I really had fond memories of the Adam West version. I'm sure you did too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was from my era, and just the car and the overlays of the bam and pow. They were great. Of course, y'all may have been far more advanced, but we had to watch it in black and white. I didn't realize till later the great colors.
Oh, that was just about the same time we got our first color TV. But I really, and I love being old like this because it gives you so much perspective on how good things are right now. Have you ever touched a modern TV and had to adjust the colors? No. I remember that, the first TV, you'd be watching it, and then pretty soon everybody's faces were kind of greenish tinged, and you thought, well, either everybody's very nauseous right now, or I need to adjust it. So you'd go up there, and they had the tint and color dials, and you'd fiddle around with those and get something that looked vaguely good. And it would be that way for about a day, and then it would drift towards the purple. It was horrible.
Yeah, no, they have no idea today, just everything just working. I even had to go outside and adjust the antenna to be able to pick up another station.
Yeah, remember they did have the antenna rotators that you could get, and of course that
was me.
Yeah. So you got to do that.
Well, I had it worked out where the antenna was right near a window in the house, and I could open the window, reach out and turn it and close it up. So it worked out good.
Well, I know we thought we had died and gone to heaven in 1979. My wife and I, in June, bought our first house shortly after we got married. And at that time, they were just installing, for the first time, cable TV in our neighborhood. And it wasn't really that great, to be honest with you. It was definitely a lot cheaper than Comcast, but, you only had maybe 40 channels or something like that. But it was so incredible, being able to not have to go out and, really, this channel's going to be just fine, but that channel is always, because there are transmitters on the other side of town, it's going to be awful. None of that anymore. We were thrilled by that.
You're right. It is. I'm really glad I grew up just at the dawn of computers, and seen it all the way through. So
it's fun being old.
It is.
Well, hey, like I said, I get to turn the big 6-0 this year. So
that's right.
Dennis is already there, and you've got a few years.
I'm bringing up the rear, but I'm 4 years away, 3 years. Forget. I always tell my wife, because I'm 3 years from 60, and I'll tell you, it's only 13 years till I'll be 70. She said, do not say it that way. It's all in perspective. Then I'll turn around and say, well, it was only 17 years ago. I was still in my 40s. So it sounds better.
Yeah. It sounds great when you say it that way.
Yeah, anyone watching now, we may call this the Geritol Club or so. I don't know.
We ought to change the name. It'll be like 2 or 3 old guys, the Geritol generation or something.
Yeah, exactly. So
Well, anyway, thanks everybody for joining us again for another trip down memory lane. That's what we like to do here. But thanks for the, a little bit more info on Monument Valley too, because I haven't been able to make it all the way through yet. I've got some other games that I'm kind of hooked on that every day they take priority until I get them done. And
well, I hope I didn't give it away for you there. I was amazed. I'll quickly say I looked on, just scanning YouTube. I was looking for the making of Monument Valley 2, and there's a really good video that they've put out about how they made the game. And the first one, a lot of technical details, really great. But I saw so many walkthroughs of the game, and I thought, I don't want walkthroughs. Why buy a game and let someone else play it for you? I want to figure it out, So, but
yeah, the only time I ever used walkthroughs was the first summer that Angry Birds was out.
Yeah.
And it was like I was flying through the levels, and I got to this one level, and it was like I could not get it. And I finally went, oh, the heck with it. And I went out. Sure enough, on YouTube, some guy says, level 14, here's how you go in. And you blah, 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 and you need to right there and aim it right there. And boom. And that helped me get through that level. And I, went for about 5 more levels before I got stuck again.
Just a quick comment. The longest I ever, of course, I didn't play for hours a day, but one level on Angry Birds was so tough. It took me, I think it was 30 days to figure it out, but I would not look it up. I just refused to. I finally got it.
You are a good man.
And I mean, I didn't play all the time, a few minutes at night, maybe 30 minutes or an hour. Finally, after about a month, I got it. And one thing I will not go on until I get 3 stars. If I don't have 3 stars, it's it. I just stop, but I'll get it.
Yeah. Why stop it with 1?
Yeah.
It's not as if you're really done with the level. Got to get it fast.
So finally, after I got that level done, I went and looked at a how-to on that level after I 3-starred it to see if I was doing it right or some off-the-wall way. And what I was doing was correct. It just took that long to hit it just right and get it just right. So but I like those challenges.
Well, it's funny. My wife and I are both hooked on that. I think I brought it up before, but the Microsoft Classic Solitaire collection. Absolutely hooked on it. And every day we do the challenges. That's all I really play there are the challenges. And there are 5 games. And most of the time anymore, we can get all 5 of them. But occasionally one of us will get all 5 and the other one will get 4. And then there's lots of crying and upset people. And that's me, You don't love me. You're smarter than I am. So it's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's good. So,
but for everyone that she gets that I don't, we have one of the other ones where I happen to get it first time, and she spends three days working on it. And
it's fun to these games that really stretch your mind, and so
they do.
I'll try to come up with a good demo of something for next week, maybe a new game or something.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I've got a couple of apps that I'm planning on reviewing this week, and I think what we can do is maybe just kind of cover those as well next week. There's one in particular for Mac that I was supposed to review quite a while back, and I just got an email from the developer saying, "So, are you done with your review yet?" I was going, "Oops." So I've got to download the app and get it on here like really fast. But sometimes these things just pass right through my fingers.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we better call it quits. We'll see everybody next week. Thanks for joining me, Marty.
Oh, yeah, it was fun. Enjoyed it. I'll be here next week. We're
a crazy team. Okay, time to go to our exciting AWT TV intro extra, because it is the most awesome thing you've ever seen. Good night, everybody.